Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavara Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavara Dari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavara Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavara Dari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjabi Hari Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Pariva Jakacharja Asatarsata Sri Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Pariva Jakacharja Asatarsata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Transcendental Glories of the Lord, Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 3, the Lord's Pastimes out of Vrindavan. Text number 24. Puryam Kadachit Kridabi Yadu Boja Kumarakai Kopita Munaya Shepu Bhagavat Mata Kovida Paryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kamarakahai Kapita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovadaha Paryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kamarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovadaha Paryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kamarakahai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovadaha
Paryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kamarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovida
Bhagavan Mata Kovadaha
Puryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kumarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovida
Puryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kumarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovida
Puryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kumarakahai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovidaha Puryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kumarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovidaha
Puryam Kadachit Kridadbir Yadu Boja Kumarakai Kopita Munaya Shepur Bhagavan Mata Kovidaha
Bhagavan Matakavidyaha.
Poyam kadachit kridadvir Yadu boja kumarakai Opita munaya shepur Bhagavan Matakovidaha.
In the city of Dwarka, Kadachit, once upon a time, Kridabi, by sporting activities, Yadu, the descendants of Yadu, Boja, the descendants of Boja, Kamarakai, princes, Kopita, became angry. Unaya, the great sages, Shepu, cursed. Bhagavat, the personality of Godhead. Mata, desire. Kovida, cognizant. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Boja dynasties, and thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them. Purport. The associates of the Lord who were playing the part of princely descendants of the Yadu and Boja dynasties were not ordinary living entities. It is not possible that they could offend any saintly man or sage, nor could the sages, who are all pure devotees of the Lord, be influenced to anger by any of the sporting activities of the princes born in the holy dynasties of Yadu or Boja, wherein the Lord Himself appeared as a descendant. The cursing of the princes by the sages was another transcendental pastime of the Lord to make a show of anger. The princes were cursed in order that one may know that even the descendants of the Lord, who could never be vanquished by any act of material nature, are subjected to the reactions of anger by great devotees of the Lord. One should therefore take great care and attention not to commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord. Dr. Maharaj, we would like to hear your thoughts on this. Okay. So this verse is very instructive for every one of us. In the Lord's family, there are two divisions of the Lord's personal associates. One division were the incarnations of the plenary expansions of the Lord, and the second division were incarnations of demigods. And it so happened that Jai Shishi Gornatai, it so happened that Sama dressed up like a pregnant woman. And, he played a trick on the sages, and the sages apparently became angry and cursed the descendants of the Yadu and Boja dynasties. So this is not ordinary anger, and when the descendants of Krishna went to the place of pilgrimage called Prabhas, they became intoxicated by drinking a beverage made from fermented rice and water. Sometimes the Kshatriyas are allowed to drink alcoholic beverages on special occasions, but not ordinarily. And Srila Narottam Das Thakur has said that pure devotees don't need to travel of pilgrimage because engaged in devotional service at any place, and there is no need for any other travel to any other place of pilgrimage. So this is not an ordinary drunken brawl of conditioned souls. And in this verse, the word is kadachit. Once upon a time, when we were kids, we were told fairy tales, which are fiction, which begins with the words "once upon a time." But these pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam are not like fairy tales. They're actual historical facts that actually happen, and they're eternally going on, either, if not in this universe, in some other universe. So this is a transcendental pastime of the Lord. And also Maharaj Pariksit, once upon a time, he became hungry and thirsty when he was hunting in the forest, and apparently he became angry at a sage because he was asking the sage for water, but the sage was in deep meditation, and the sage and Maharaj Pariksit were on the same transcendental platform. But still, this is another transcendental pastime of the Lord, because the Lord wanted Srimad Bhagavatam to be spoken to Maharaj Pariksit. And while they were in the place of pilgrimage at Prabhas, the descendants of Yadu, they performed all the functions. They were Krishna's family members were highly cultured in Vedic culture, and they gave in charity to the Brahmins at Prabhas. They gave in charity land, gold coins. They gave girls who were for the benefit of the other Brahmins who were not married, and they gave many well-nourished cows, fatty cows, in charity to the Brahmins. And they fed the Brahmins prasadam. And the Brahmins were very pleased with the descendants of Yadu and Bhoja. And all the necessities of life was fulfilled, because it is the duty of the Kshatriyas to give in charity to the Brahmins. And the Kshatriyas were always obedient to the Brahmins. And the last sentence, the concluding sentence in this paragraph is significant. Prabhupada writes, "One should therefore take great care and attention not to commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord. The Vaishnava aparadha is the greatest offense, and it could destroy one's devotional creeper. And out of all the Vaishnavas aparadha, the greatest is Guru aparadha. If one commits Guru aparadha, his devotional service is finished." So we should all be very much careful and very much always respectful to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. And the taking of intoxication is also very much harmful, as we can understand from this pastime. Here in Kansas City, they sell intoxicating beverages even in the supermarkets. When I was growing up in the 1950s, there was no wine, liquor, or beer sold in supermarkets. You had to go to a special place called a state store. It was a government store where you had to be 21, and that was the only place you could buy alcoholic beverages, and it was closed on Sundays and holidays. But now alcohol is easily available anywhere in America. But in the Muslim countries, they follow the Quran very strictly, Sharia law, and there's no alcohol allowed in Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or other Muslim countries. I believe tobacco is also prohibited. So this is good. Although they kill cows still in many ways, the Muslim people are morally superior to people in other countries, and their women are very well shielded from the eyes of men. They're covered from head to toe, and this is a good thing in Oriental culture and Eastern culture. And in the Western culture also, when people were not so much degraded as today, the women were well covered. I remember when I was going to church in the 1950s, my mother never went to church with her head uncovered. She always had her head covered, as did all the other ladies in the church. But when she came out of the church, things were different. But anyway, a woman, when she's in public, she should always be covered from head to toe. This is Vedic culture, because to induce lust in a man is a sin. And Krishna had many, many sons, and in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 40, there's a nice description given by Rupa Goswami of the reverential devotion of sons and other subordinates. This is translated into English by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The translation is as follows. True reverential devotion is exhibited by persons who think themselves subordinate to Krishna, and by persons who think themselves sons of Krishna. The best examples of this subordination are Sarna, Gada, and Subhadra. They were all members of the Yadu dynasty, and they always used to think themselves protected by Krishna. Similarly, Krishna's sons, such as Pradyumna, Charudeshna, and Samba, felt the same way. Krishna had many sons in Dwarka. He begot 10 sons by each of his 16,108 queens. And all these sons, headed by Pradyumna, Charudeshna, and Samba, used to think themselves always protected by Krishna. When Krishna's sons dined with him, they would sometimes open their mouths for Krishna to feed them. Sometimes when Krishna would pat one of his sons, the son would sit on Krishna's lap. And while Krishna was blessing the son's head by smelling it, the others would shed tears, thinking how many pious activities he must have performed in his previous life. Out of Krishna's many sons, Pradyumna, a son of Krishna's chief queen Rukmini, is considered the leader. Pradyumna's bodily features resembles Krishna's exactly. Pure devotees of Krishna glorify Pradyumna because he is so fortunate, like father, like son. There is a description in the Hare Vamsa of Pradyumna's activities when he kidnapped Prabhavati. Pradyumna addressed Prabhavati at that time and said, "My dear Prabhavati, just look at the head of our family, Sri Krishna. He is Vishnu himself, the supreme driver of Garuda, and he is our supreme master. Because we have become so proud and confident of his protecting us, we sometimes do not even care about fighting with Tripurari, Lord Shiva." There are two kinds of devotees engaged in devotional service with awe and veneration: the Lord's subordinates and his sons. The servitors in the abode of Dwarka always worship Krishna as the most respectable and revered personality of Godhead. They are captivated by Krishna because of his super excellent opulences. The members who always thought themselves protected by Krishna could readily convert their conviction into practical demonstration, because it was sometimes found that the sons of Krishna acted very unlawfully in various places, but were nonetheless given full protection by Krishna and Balaram. Even Balaram, the elder brother of Krishna, sometimes unknowingly offered respect to him. Once, when Krishna came before Lord Balaram, Krishna was anxious to offer his respects to his elder brother, but at that time Balaram's club was lowered down upon Krishna's lotus feet. In other words, the club in Balaram's hand offered its own respects to Krishna. These feelings of subordination, as explained above, are sometimes manifested as anubhava. When demigods from heavenly planets came to see Sri Krishna, all of Krishna's sons followed them, and Lord Brahma sprinkled water from his kamandalu upon them. When the demigods came before Krishna, the sons, instead of sitting on golden chairs, sat down on the floor, which was covered with deer skin. Sometimes the behavior of Krishna's sons appears similar to the behavior of his personal servants. For example, the sons used to offer their obeisances. They were silent, submissive, and gentle, and they were always ready to carry out Krishna's orders, even at the risk of life. When present before Krishna, they bowed down on the ground. They were very silent and steady, and they used to restrain coughing and laughing before the Lord. Also, they never discussed Krishna's pastimes and conjugal love. In other words, devotees who are engaged in reverential devotional service should not discuss the conjugal love affairs of Krishna. No one should claim his eternal relationship with Krishna unless he is liberated. In the conditioned state of life, the devotees have to execute the prescribed duties as recommended in the codes of devotional service. When one is mature in devotional service and is a realized soul, he can know his own eternal relationship with Krishna. One should not artificially try to establish some relationship. In the premature stage, it is sometimes found that a lusty, conditioned person will artificially try to establish some relationship with Krishna in conjugal love. The result of this is that one becomes prakriti sahaja, or one who takes everything very cheaply. Although such persons may be very anxious to establish a relationship with Krishna in conjugal love, their conditioned life in the material world is still most abominable. A person who has actually established his relationship with Krishna can no longer act on the material plane, and his personal character cannot be criticized. When Cupid came on one occasion to visit Lord Krishna, some devotee addressed him thus: "My dear Cupid, because you have been so fortunate as to have placed your eyesight on the lotus feet of Krishna. The drops of perspiration on your body have become frozen, and they resemble Kentucky fruits, a kind of small fruit found in thorny bushes. These are signs of ecstasy and veneration for the personality of Godhead. Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai. When the princes of the Yadu dynasty heard the vibration of Krishna's Panchajanta conch shell, the hairs on their bodies immediately stood up in ecstatic jubilation. It seems at that time that all the hairs on the bodies of the princes were dancing in ecstasy. In addition to jubilation, there are sometimes symptoms of disappointment. Pradyumna once addressed Samba with these words: "My dear Samba, you are such a glorified personality. I have seen that once, when you were playing on the ground, your body became covered with dust. Yet our Father, Lord Krishna, still took you up on his lap. But I am so unfortunate that I could never get such love from our Father." This statement is an example of disappointment in love. To regard Krishna as one's superior is called reverential feeling. And when in addition to this, a devotee feels that Krishna is his protector, his transcendental love for Krishna is increased, and his combined feelings are called reverential devotion. When the steady reverential devotion increases further, it is called love of Godhead and reverential devotion. Attraction and affection are two prominent symptoms of the stage. In this reverential devotional attitude, Pradyumna never talked to his father in a loud voice. In fact, he never so much as unlocked the lips of his mouth, nor did he ever show his face filled with tears. He would always glance only at the lotus feet of his father. There is another example of steady and fixed love for Krishna in the instance of Arjuna's informing him of the death of Arjuna's son Abhimanyu, who was also the nephew of Krishna. Abhimanyu was the son of Subhadra, Krishna's younger sister. He was killed in the battle of Kurukshetra by the combined efforts of all the commanders in King Duryodhana's army, namely Karna, Ashwatthama, Jayadratha, Bhishma, Kripacharya, and Dronacharya. In order to assure Krishna that there was no change of love on Subhadra's part, Arjuna informed him, "Although Abhimanyu was killed almost in your presence, Subhadra's love for you is not agitated at all, nor has it even slightly changed its original color." The affection that Krishna has for his devotees was expressed by him when he asked Pradyumna not to feel so bashful before him. He addressed Pradyumna thus: "My dear boy, just give up your feelings of inferiority and do not hang your neck. Just talk with me in a clear voice and do not shed tears. You may look straight at me and you may place your hands on my body without any hesitation. There is no need of exhibiting so much reverence before your father." Pradyumna's attachment for Krishna was always exhibited by his action. Whenever he was ordered by his father to execute something, he would immediately execute the order, taking the task as nectarian, even though it may have been poison. Similarly, whenever he would find something to be disapproved by his father, he would immediately reject it as poison, even though it may have been nectarian. Pradyumna's attachment and anxiety for Krishna was expressed when he said to his wife Rati, "The enemy Shambhara is already killed. Now I am very anxious to see my father, who is my spiritual master and who always carries the conch shell known as Panchajanya." Pradyumna felt great separation from Krishna when he was absent from Dwarka, at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He said, "Since my father has left Dwarka, I do not take much pleasure in practicing fighting, nor am I interested in any kind of sporting pastimes. And what need is there to speak of these things? I do not even wish to stay at Dwarka in the absence of my father." When Pradyumna came back home after killing Shambharasura and saw his father Krishna before him, he at once became so overjoyed that he himself could not understand his joy on that occasion. This is an instance of success in separation. A similar satisfaction was observed when Krishna returned from the battlefield of Kurukshetra to his home at Dwarka. All of his sons were so overjoyed that out of ecstasy they repeatedly made many mistakes. These mistakes were a sign of complete satisfaction. Every day Pradyumna looked over Krishna's lotus feet with tears in his eyes. These signs of reverential devotion on the part of Pradyumna may be described in the same way that they have been described in the case of other devotees. Are any comments or questions? Yes, Dr. Joseph?
Hare Krishna. I think you must have said, but I think I missed it. What did the descendants of the Yadu and Bhoja dynasties do to be cursed?
What was that?
What did they do to be cursed by the sages?
One of Krishna's sons, his name was Sama, he dressed up as a pregnant woman, and he asked some question. Has any other devotee remember what that question was? Yes, Rishi Kumar Prabhu.
From what I remember, he asked the sages if the pregnancy would be a boy or a girl, because he dressed like a pregnant woman.
Very good, Rishi Kumar. He asked the sages whether the pregnancy would be a boy or a girl. And the sages could understand that these Kshatriyas were behaving whimsically toward them, so they were cursed. Although generally the sages never become angry, but this is stated by Jiva Goswami. This is a magical pastime of the Lord, and it's not an ordinary curse out of ordinary anger. It's time for the Sankirtan Festival. Thank you for patiently hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Okay, so we'll read the scores for this week of June 3rd. We had a lot of book distribution, mostly at the Sadhu Sangha Festival. So this week, 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 book distributors, and we'll read the scores for the pleasure of their lordships. Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Lord Nrsimhadev, Tulsi Maharani, the Sampradaya Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami, and all the assembled devotees. So in 5th position, all right, we just got a new score, this just in. So in 5th position, with 12 big books and 9 Maha big books, which includes 3 Saptarishi sets, for a total of 30 points, Bhakti and Kela. Haribo. In fourth position, with 13 Maha Big Books, which includes one rest of the, we're saying this term for if someone takes if they already had the first half of the Garga Samhita set, and then they take the rest of the Garga Samhita set, we're calling it the rest of the set. So 13 Maha Big Books, which includes one rest of the Garga Samhita set, for 26 book points, Krishna Bhagavan Prabhu. Haribo. In third position, with 60 Maha Big Books, which includes 2 Garga Samhita sets, for a total of 120 book points, Bhakta Joseph. Haribo. Homemade. In second position, with 2 big books and 62 Maha Big Books, which includes 2 rests of the Garga Samhita set and 1 full Garga Samhita set, for a total of 126 book points, Magadari Prabhu. Haribo. In first position, with 11 small books, 25 medium books, 1 big book, and 140 Maha Big Books, which includes 4 Garga Samhita sets, 1 Vaishnava Society set, and 1 rest of the set, for 298.25 book points, Rishi Kumar Das. Hare Krishna. And that makes the RVC total for June 3rd, 11 small books, 25 medium books, 16 big books, 285 Maha Big Books, for a total of 600.25 book points. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami ki jai. Okay, a highlight. The Sadhu Sangha was really ecstatic. The highlight from that was listening to Maharaj speaking with Vaisheshika Prabhu, and also Vaisheshika Prabhu's wife was there, and Chandrasekhara Prabhu. That was definitely the highlight. So I guess to tie a book distribution into that highlight was when Maharaj was speaking with Chandrasekhara Prabhu there just before that, or just after that, he gifted him a Garga Samhita set, which Chandrasekhara Prabhu donated for, and I just happened to be there with my phone in hand, so I got to pull up the transaction on the phone. So, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I guess there's a devotee that was interested in the set, and he came by, he was asking about it, and he bought a full set, and it was nice. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai.
Here? That happened here? Or at Sadhu Sangha? That happened at Sadhu Sangha.
You mentioned that you have also 2 more big books and 2 more small books.
How many points extra?
4,
Rishi wants. Rishi would like me to specify that my book total is 124.5. So I had 2 Bhagavatam sales, individual books, first part of the first canto, and then 2 spiritual yoga books. But there was a lady at Sadhu Sangha that I'll speak about. She was really sweet, and she came by. She said that she had some books already by the author, and she said specifically the Uttama Shloka book, she's like, she really values a lot, and that was really nice praise from her. But she said that she had made a rule for her and her kid that they would buy no books at Sadhu Sangha. She's like a 2. That's right. 2 2 books, yeah. So she's like a voracious reader, and I guess her kid is too, and she was trying to be good about it. But I showed her the set, and she was really interested, and she was like, I'm just going to think about it. Like, and I wasn't even expecting her to see her again that day. I thought maybe I'd see her again tomorrow, maybe. But she came back like 10 minutes later, and she was like, I was just chanting some japa, and the strangest thing happened. I just felt called to come back immediately and buy this book set. So it was like, yeah, super transcendental, yeah. So Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.